Welcome to another episode of Hanging with the Huns with your host, Todd and Carrie Hun. Yeah, we got to make some movie references.
I'm not good at that.
No, snakes. Why is it always snakes? I feel weird about doing the intro. So let's just talk. Hey, what's up? Hey, welcome to Hanging with the Hun and the Shelton. This is my buddy Brandon, my best friend in life, my life partner. If I wasn't married, no.
We have been.
We won't go there.
We have been kicked out of more places.
Yes, we have.
Too much lap sitting.
Yeah. We're the gayest non-gay people on the planet. But
I mean, at least one of us.
Yeah.
No,
But so we haven't really hung out in a while since probably, I don't know, has it been since COVID? Like really hung out?
Oh yeah, I mean, like for like all day and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
We used to go camping and everything.
I know, man.
Oh, we got good stories about that.
Oh.
I forgot about the fire story. We're gonna definitely talk about that one.
Which one?
Oh, we'll get there. You'll remember. So, when we first, I was trying to think of when we first met. I know it was at Canvas,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not really sure how we first met. I don't even know if you remember.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, how did we first meet?
Man, I think it was Monkey had just been born.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was the time. Pull that a little closer.
The Monkey had just been born,
Right.
And you guys brought over like it was like a spaghetti casserole or something.
Okay.
And you're looking around the house, and I don't remember. I think Carrie said something. That's a nice wine rack or something. And you guys were like, okay, they're.
Yeah. Well, I remember. So okay,
and then we went, and then that's when you guys came over, and then the first time we hung out was at the landing at that Tea Party rally.
We'll get there.
Okay,
I got that right there. So I remember so that was the first time we met. I was thinking we might have known each other at church, but I know when we had like one of the things we did at Canvas when somebody would have a baby or somebody was sick, you know, and they were at home, the families would all get together and bring meals.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember bringing you that casserole we made. It was like a spaghetti bake. That's what we called it. And we made it because we figured you had the kids and everything, so we wanted to make something big. And I remember saying when we were leaving, I mean, you were super cool. We loved you guys. And I remember you like thanking us and everything. And I was like, yeah, we're going to have steaks. And I never forgot that. I was like, what a friggin' asshole, like going to, I mean, not that spaghetti bake isn't awesome, but we're going to
delicious.
Eat. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I mean, we eat that all the time. For some reason, I was like, why did I even say that? But I think it was because we didn't have steak very often. So we were like super excited anyway. I felt like I was being an asshole. I was like, we just met these people and I'm telling them, at least it wasn't lobster. So we're going to have lobster. Well, you can't eat lobster.
No, I can't eat lobster. Yeah. I'd have been like, I don't die.
Oh, dang it. Yeah. But yeah, so we used to, and then after that, I think we just started hanging out like quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it was probably some of the church families were like wondering how close we really were because we were like such good friends. But I mean, I remember
that's the best church gossip.
Oh my gosh.
It's it's like the perfect example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously. There was so many people doing that I'm sure it was about, there was people gossiping about everybody, but for some reason we were like the outcast, the church outcast, you know, and I'm the drummer on the worship team, and I had,
and I'm like the guy in charge of the damn security team.
Yeah, exactly. I heard people saying stuff about you know, you probably have better admission or whatever if you didn't have so many tattooed people in the band, and I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
But one thing, our pastor always stood up for us, and I remember that because he was like, well, then we're just not going to have as many people or something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that was
yeah,
cool.
I will give him that.
He always
that's just like
stuck
when
up for us.
The rumor stuff, man. 'Cause what we used to do is very like we did 4th of July and New Year's.
Yes, anything with fireworks.
yeah, anything
loud banging noises.
Then we always did it at our house, and kind of the rule is, man, if you come, you stay. You know, because like I don't drink anymore, but back then I did a lot.
How many days sober?
Oh, 120 something. I don't exactly know, but I'm actually, this is my meeting for the night because I'm still doing that. I'm still doing the thing. But anyhow, but we'd always do it, and it just doesn't make any sense. What are you going to wait till? Obviously, if you're going someplace for New Year's, you're going to be there until after New Year's, exactly. After midnight, and then who's on the road after midnight? Drunks and cops. So,
yeah,
just stay here. So, but
and we always had so much fun anyway. We didn't want to leave.
No,
so
it'd be like
why leave? I mean, everyone else left.
Yeah, everybody else.
That's when the fun started.
You're making hamburgers on a grill at like 3:00 in the morning.
But we're good Christians.
That's right.
I mean, we are.
I think we still met at the church on Sunday.
Yeah, we had one lady. Didn't she message, or did she actually talk to?
No, it was talked to it.
It was like it was bad enough to where she was like, oh, you know, one of those cackling hens at the church went to the pastor and what. Did she say she thought we were having like orgies or something? I don't know. Wife swapping or something?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. I think they're wife swapping.
What are you talking about? Is what he said to her.
And,
and she was like, it's like every holiday.
Yeah.
He was like, have you ever been? No, I'm not invited.
Do you have friends?
Yeah. And
that's what it's like to have friends.
But he's like, well, I think it was New Year's, and just the other day, and I heard there was this going on and that going on and this and that. She's just making this shit up,
yeah,
because she wasn't there. Nobody, right. But pastor and his wife was there.
Yep,
and he was like, really? What? You know. Myself and my wife was there last night, and we were there till like 1:00 in the morning, shooting on fireworks and this, that, and that. So I don't, gossip is a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're busted.
Well, she said
but I love
thing.
that. I love that kind of stuff. I live for that kind of stuff.
No, it was years later, because I was getting off on the landing off ramp, and you're like, you won't believe what such and such is posted.
Oh yeah, with my comeback.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was something about Budweiser and all that, and you were like, you're talking about Budweiser, or shared an article.
Yeah,
and she said people shouldn't spread rumors if they don't know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, hello, pot. My name's Kettle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
That was so damn funny, and that had to have been 10 years later.
Yeah, and then I started another controversy at church. When the girls were at they were at a women's conference that they had, and
all of us went to the strip club.
Yeah. Right. No, but it was something kind of like that. I mean, it was during the day, and they were all there, and I think I went. And we did the worship for the ladies' conference, and then we took off and went to lunch. And she called me and said something like, where are you eating or something like that. And I was like, oh, and I knew they were at a women's conference. So this is obviously a joke, but the gossip behind her, and I won't name names, but I knew she was a gossip because I had heard her say things about certain people, just very, not necessarily gossip, just very like religious, and that's not appropriate. And I said, oh, we're probably just going to pop into here to Hooters, because we were like right by Hooters where the conference was. Yeah. And my wife obviously knows my sense of humor. Yeah. And even if I was going to Hooters, she wouldn't care. No. But I wasn't. I was joking, because I thought it would be, funny because they're at a women's conference. Oh, we're going to Hooters. And she overheard that and went to the pastor and everything and was like, and he was like, I'm sure Todd is joking. You don't know Todd very often or very good, do you? And so that was another fire that I started that wasn't really necessary. But
well, where did we eat lunch after the first time we hung out?
Hooters. Yeah, that was
that was back in the landing.
We had permission though.
Yes, we both called and we both called and checked with the bosses and said, "Hey, we're gonna sit outside and we're only gonna have one beer."
And that was at the landing. So at the time,
I think it was like
nothing else to eat there.
No, it was the only thing there, and I think the one beer was like the pitcher. But
yeah, that was was that the Tea Party rally day? Mm-hmm. That was a Tea Party rally. Remember those?
Yeah, that
was awesome. I think that was like before.
It was before
the ball guy everything. Scott.
Yeah,
Rick Scott.
Yeah,
that was like his, whatever they call it, campaign.
Something. Yeah, but it was to take the Senate and the House, and they got a bunch of seats in the House.
I think that was governor. When he was running for governor.
Yeah, he was, but the Tea Party was the federal push for the House and the Senate. Okay, and they picked up a bunch of seats and everything. But no, it was funny because I'll never forget it. The guy was up on stage and I don't remember who it was. It's some radio guy. And he's talking, he was like, so register to vote. And somebody in the crowd yells, vote from the rooftops. I was like, oh, shit, I wouldn't have said that.
No. Yeah, I'm thinking, like, I think about times back then, like, that was very, what's the word? They were calling like Tea Party. They weren't calling it like a cult. They were just calling it like, not even, I don't know. Everything's nowadays would be called Nazis or something like that. Idiots. Yeah. I was talking to Carrie about that earlier, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure if you ask somebody if they're a Nazi and they are a Nazi, they will proudly say, I'm a Nazi.
Yeah.
It's like all this Elon stuff and calling Trump a Nazi. They're not Nazis. I would think they'd admit it, but anyway.
Yeah.
That's enough Nazi talk.
Yeah, it's going to ruin your algorithm.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm going to get flagged.
End up on one of them crazy websites. Check this guy out.
Yeah. But I mean, it seems like we were always, every holiday that had fireworks, we were at your house.
Yep.
Because you have the best fireworks and you get like the paramedic, fireman discount, and like everyone at the firework place knows you and your dad. And your dad's like, oh, go to this one on San Jose. And Pete, tell him I sent you.
Yeah.
And we get like mortars and RPGs and like, I didn't even know you could get those.
Well,
that's what you get when you're a fireman.
That one year we got those ones we had to set off with the car battery.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because we had to pull my truck around. We're like, this is dumb.
And then
the parachute flare.
Oh no, wait! It wasn't a parachute flare. It was a flare that you had.
I think. Yeah.
And I don't know. Are those legal?
Allegedly.
Okay, well, I can cut anything out that's questionable.
No,
but I remember
it was just a Coast Guard signal.
Okay, yeah, we
Go out,
shot
go
something.
out.
Was that the flare, or was it just a like a
the
Roman candle into the palm tree across your street?
No, the best was the it was New Year's and that lady still had her snowman up, the big giant inflatable snow across the street. And it was like she came out and she was like, "Hey, make sure you don't hit anything into the snowman." And we're like, "Man, I ain't gonna shoot anything at the snowman." And I don't remember what it was. It was one of them like rocket things, has like 100 shots in it, and we lit that off, and it was going all over the place, and we're giggling. And then we looked across the street, and the snowman was deflated. And she just went out and unplugged it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we were safe.
Yeah.
I know. I remember the one time the mortar fell over and all the girls and the kids were on the lawn in their lawn chairs, and it was like, yeah.
It was like a dim flashbang going off underneath their feet. But then, but how often did somebody sneak up behind somebody else and just throw a pack of firecrackers at their feet?
All the time. Good times.
Yeah, it was fun. And safe.
Yeah.
We never got hurt.
Yeah, we're safe. You're military and you got all the credentials. In case I blow a finger off, you know it.
That was the only thing. As much as I like to drink, I could never get completely like shipwrecked because I got to keep an eye on everybody.
Right. Especially me. I remember my 40th birthday.
I had to go hide that can of gas.
I had a can of gas I was going to pour on the fire. And
a 5-gallon can of gas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm glad you got it. And I remember my daughter coming up to me and go, "Daddy, I don't like how you're talking." And I was like, yeah. That was good times. That was fun.
Yeah. Actually, I think the kids came home with us when we left.
That's on. Oh yeah.
Your birthday.
Yeah. You got me a walker, I remember. For my 40th.
It had the horn and the mirror on the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. You still got that?
No. That you gave me a blow up one.
Was it a blow up?
Yeah, and I gave you that one with the horn.
You gave it,
and it had like a water bottle holder and everything.
Beer holder.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was awesome. So we had many adventures. One that we definitely wanted to talk about was our New Orleans ministry recon trip that we took with. It was me, Brandon, the pastor, and the youth pastor, and they were looking for. It was basically to see if it was safe for the ministry or for a missions trip to go out there.
To go out there. This was 2011.
I don't know. You're the one that remembers everything.
Yeah, it was just like they wanted to do a bunch of work in was it the
Ninth Ward,
Ninth Ward, and we had a point of contact with the youth pastor's father-in-law. I think was a preacher there.
Yes,
and
he was a pastor at this little shotgun style church in the middle of the hood. And this dude is awesome. I mean, it
was after Haiti because I was like, holy shit, this looks like Port-au-Prince.
Yeah. And I remember when we got there, because I had worked in that area, New Orleans and the Ninth Ward, doing windows after the hurricane. So I knew where we were going. So that's why I was like, all right, this is going to be exciting. And when we got there, so, I mean, there's still, there wasn't a lot of homes rebuilt. And it's still
just the weird ones that
dangerous area.
Like the celebrities built those weird ass, like geometrical.
Yeah. That's the Brad Pitt homes.
Yeah. Anyhow, but we get there and go ahead.
I remember the pastor. So the pastor, when we first got there, we get out and there's this bus, like hippie bus, right here, and this is not hippie area. This is like hardcore
Dude,
gang violence, crack,
like you're
you
driving,
name it.
You're
it's
driving
bad.
by and people are like, "Hey, yo, we got da over here."
Yeah.
So like every corner you drive by has got different corner boys on it.
Yeah. So I was just looking at this bus going, wow, that's certainly out of place. So, but me thinking like that, you know, and then we get off and
German people.
Yeah, they were like German. They were super cool.
They're cool.
But I'm like,
shit.
you guys, you can get back on your bus where it's safe.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were parked next.
We
to
ended
the
up meeting
church.
them later.
Yeah.
But the pastor, so like the first thing he does is, well, let me take you on a walk around the neighborhood. And he took us on like a murder walk, like a murder crack celebrity walk. And he's saying, yeah, I used to, and I mean, it's really not funny, you know, it is funny.
It was funny.
But like at the time, it was not funny. He was talking about like he knew this person and this person got shot,
got killed here.
Yeah, and I mean, it was
and
pretty
bear
bad.
in mind, there's like everybody's looking at us because we're
Right.
out of place, you know. And now there's the pastor guy who everybody in the neighborhood has respect for because they do a lot and everything.
Yeah.
For the
So
community. we were
being
we had
guided
that
by
going.
the right person.
And there's 4 of us, and I know for a fact 3 of us were carrying guns.
Yeah. Well, they didn't know that, but
no,
we were fine. We were protected.
Yeah.
But the optics of the whole thing was kind of fishy.
It looked odd. And no, that's that. Then we went back, and there's like what was that room? It was about the size of your studio, wasn't it? The room with the chairs where we slept, where we pushed all the chairs together.
That was the church.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
it was
saying.
probably
maybe
twice the size,
yeah.
but not much bigger.
Yeah, in the front of that warehouse.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the warehouse was huge.
Yeah, that was
crazy, spooky.
Yeah, well, it was still early because we were standing out front. That's when I was like smoking cigarettes. We were standing up front. I was smoking a cigarette, and me and you were talking, and then other 2 guys come out, and we all had beers. You know, we got like a 6-pack. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we're just standing out there shooting the crap, and that cop drove up, and he stopped, and he was like, "What are y'all doing?"
Oh yeah,
you remember?
Like yeah,
and we're like, we're here from Florida on a church mission thing. I'm smoking a cigarette,
we're
got
drinking
a beer. Yeah. And he was like, because he knows it's a church,
right?
And he says, "Man, y'all don't need to be outside."
I know. He gave us a warning. Oh, we're good.
We're like, we're good. And he was like, "No, you
right.
you need to go inside."
Yeah. So that was because I think we got there right around sundown.
Yeah.
So we went into the warehouse and cleared that.
Yeah, that was it was like just a door that has it's like a exterior metal door.
Yeah, it was like was it locked or something?
It wasn't locked.
Barricaded.
It had like 2 U-shaped brackets bolted into the door and the 2x4 over it, like some shit from the like medieval times, to keep so you couldn't, no matter what,
right.
If you knocked the lock off, you couldn't open it. And the dude was like, sometimes people will be in there, and we're like, okay,
you shouldn't tell us that.
Yeah. and then the pastor dude left, and then the cop told us, stay inside. Right. And then we're all in there and we're like putting all the chairs together.
Benches, pews, making
to make beds. We had
pallets.
sleeping bags and pallets.
That was funny.
Yeah. And then everybody's getting comfortable. I think it was PA that said, he was like, "Man, I don't know if I could sleep not knowing what's in that back room."
Right.
And I was like, "Yep,
let's go."
So he got up. And it was like you felt like you was going into some shit you used to keep zombie. Like it'd be like something from like The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
like to keep
I
zombies
know.
out.
Didn't even say it said like keep out or something on it. Yeah, so we're like, oh great. But he shouldn't have ever said anything,
No, he should have said
otherwise
nothing
that'd
about
have been fine.
Yeah.
But when we went in there, it was like all dark, but it was all the like carnival and Mardi Gras,
like the
big, like crazy heads, like of clowns and
babies.
It was just like,
Dude,
it was all like the hurricane. After the hurricane, like somebody just like cleaned up the city after Mardi Gras and just threw it all in a warehouse. It was so random, but crazy, like House of Horrors,
yeah,
like,
it
kind of
was
stuff.
weird. It was like all those, all the old calendars and everything, and like the magazines that were just like on the. It was from.
It was too much. It was overwhelming for me. So we just like
we went through
there
real quick, made sure nobody was in there, and then we were like, let's get the hell out of here. But
yeah, so we had to make sure it was safe, and it was after we checked it out. Well, as far as we know, and then we locked back the zombie door and went to bed on the hard wooden pews
and sleeping bags.
I don't think I slept very good that night.
No, I know I did.
Especially after the cop. The cop was like,
what are you guys doing here?
Y'all are gonna die. You need to get back in that church. So then the next day we I don't remember when the pastor got there, but he picked us up, right?
Yeah.
Or did we drive to him?
I think we went to him because we had the rental car.
Yeah. So this was when we're going on our main reconnaissance operation, for the up and coming missionaries, which it never happened.
No,
we're like,
no. I was like,
especially with what happens to me in a few minutes of the next story. But we got with the pastor, and he took us to the 9th Ward, basically where all the different little. There was one church. I remember the church we went to,
the stained glass,
and it was all like it was like a super old church, almost medieval looking, like the big stones and everything,
and the steeple.
It was super cool looking.
It was cool. No, it was cool.
And when we went in, I was looking at the stained glass, and I was kind of like, "What is that? What the heck?" And it was like modern stained glass, and all the characters, it was like Paul, but he was in like baggy, like gangsta short like pants, and it was so weird, but it was like
it was
at the
cool.
Same time it was awesome.
We were both. You were like, hey.
I was checking it out. I was like, look at Jesus, like a gangsta. That
and he was like, he had like the big
it's a black
coat.
Jesus too,
but he had the big puffy coat on it.
Yeah, and he was like kind of like the frilly,
it was cool, man. The people there were cool.
It was, it was super cool. Just
because the idea was
very strange.
Yeah, the idea was for us to come back and do like a health clinic and them to do
that's
VBS stuff like that. And but it never materialized.
Which would have all been good.
Yeah, that'd have been good. It'd have been good work, but that area was not secure.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking at. I was like, dude, I need all my guys.
Yeah, I remember he was talking about Lil Wayne. And,
he got shot right over here.
The first church we were at, and he was talking about that and like all his family and everything, and then we went to. The next one was that crazy like compound.
Yeah, we had lunch.
Scary lady.
Yeah, that lady. I was like,
we went. Oh no, we got
lunch at that famous.
Yeah, it's like a barbecue place.
Yeah.
And it was on the drive-ins, diners, and dives
or something. It was good, man.
Yeah,
it was good.
Really
I don't remember the name of it, but
Smokehouse or something
like that. Yeah, but then we went to that compound.
Yeah,
it was like I don't know.
That was right in the middle of the 9th Ward,
lower 9th Ward,
and it was like almost.
I don't know if it was like a rehab or sobriety.
It almost looked like like an old
they were old
school or something, maybe.
I think, or an old library or something, because it was weird the way
bunch
it was.
of rooms and bunks everywhere.
Yeah.
And we walked in and it's all gated. The whole block is this compound.
Yeah.
And
it's got concertina wire on the fence and everything.
It was bizarre. It did not look safe.
That's weird.
Yeah. And I guess the pastor, the lady there, is like a street evangelist, or she like the neighborhood lady. Everyone knows her.
Everybody knows her,
and she's a tough old dame. But so we walked in to meet her, and she's a big lady.
She's
big lady, like big lady.
Like you ain't fixing to win a wrestling.
I'm not talking about muscular though.
No.
And I think she even had a walker, because I remember after she punched me, she kind of settled back down to her walker, and I was like, "What the hell? What just hit me?" So we walk in there, and our pastor's introducing us to the lady, the pastor, street evangelist, or whatever she's. I don't know what she is. I don't remember anything because she almost knocked me out. And then she looked at me, and I think I probably had hair just like this. I didn't have my beard, but all tattooed and everything. And she's like, and I had a Harley Davidson shirt on.
That's what did it.
Yeah, and she looked. What did she say?
She was like, Harley Davidson, huh? And you were like, yes, ma'am. And she just punched you in the damn
She
face.
punched me in the jaw, like, "Oh, you're a tough guy." And I was actually working for Harley Davidson at the time, and.
She punched you right in the face.
She hauled off, and it wasn't like oh, sweetie. It was like a punch. Like I was like, what the, and
he looked at me, and I was like, nah, you're on your own.
I wasn't getting any help, man.
No. I was like, that lady's got me afraid.
No, I'm not going to call any names. I mean, she was super nice and everything, but just like a rough kind of roughneck lady,
Yeah.
I mean, she's got to be that way to be out there, with the street ministry and everything that she does. So, she was a tough lady.
Cool.
And she made me feel very weak, very quick. I didn't know what to do, but it was funny, and we'll never forget that.
No, if a dude would have punched you, I'd have been like, hey.
Yeah, it would have been different.
Yeah, but no, I was afraid of her.
Well, I was looking at her. I was like, "What do I do?" I mean, I could handle it, but I don't think I want to.
She was looking at you, going, "What you going to do?
Yeah, what's your next step, boy? Come on, bring it on." She's ready to scrap.
That thick accent.
Yeah, strange woman.
Yeah,
but
I guess you gotta be.
Hey, praise the Lord for her.
That's right. She's doing work.
That's her mission field. So after that, I kind of was just like in a daze for the rest of the day. No, she showed us the whole compound and everything, and it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say strange, but it was something.
It was almost like it almost had a feel of like a compound in like a war-torn country, and it was right here in America. So
yeah, it was crazy.
It was definitely
educational.
Yes, to say the least.
Yeah.
So after that, we
where we go? We went to that club. We went back in the church and changed and everything. Then we went to we met them down on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And but he had us take this like crazy route, so we went around Bourbon Street and we went to that, like the nation's oldest jazz club or whatever it was. It was like Prohibition era or what, I can't remember the name. It was cool.
Yeah. Prohibition Kitchen? No, that's in St. Augustine.
No.
It's something like that, man.
Like
My kid's going to kill me. It's the oldest jazz club in
the country.
Bourbon. That was Bourbon Street, right?
Yeah. It was, because it was just off of Bourbon Street.
Preservation Hall.
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah. But he took us that crazy route that we went around.
Yeah.
Like the quarter and around.
Well, I remember when we were going down that one street where the big college down there is, the university.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, this is so weird because all that whole street was like luxury cars and big, beautiful mansions and just like wealth. And the college, you know, very wealthy college. And then one block over was the war zone. And it was, I was like, man, that's crazy. You know, that it's that much difference in a block. And, I remember they parked, and then, so we went to the Preservation Hall to watch one of his relatives, like brother-in-law or somebody was playing there in a band. And me and the pastor and the youth pastor and his stepfather.
I don't know.
Yeah, the pastor. He took us in there, and then like it was like $15 each, and we had no idea that. I don't even think I had much money. I didn't expect on paying for anything. No, he had to like basically get us on the list, but it wasn't. Yeah, we might have paid a little bit, maybe for two people or something. But anyway, the place is like tiny anyway, so we were all packed in there watching them play, and I was like, oh my gosh. And
it was hot.
Yeah, Brandon's like, I gotta go pee. So he goes to pee, and well, the bathroom is in the next door, and so I'm like,
that's like a regular place.
Yeah, so like 20
it's a bar.
20 minutes later, Brandon's not back, and I'm like, it's so friggin' hot in here. And the music was okay. It was good. It was, you know, it was what it was, but I was very uncomfortable standing, and it was just super hot. And so I'm like, what the hell? Where do you go? And so my phone rings, and I think you texted me, and I'm looking at my phone. I was like, you son of a bitch. He's like over next door watching like an AC/DC cover band, drinking, having a beer. And he's like, dude, it's air conditioned. There's a kick-ass band over here. Come on. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to come over. I don't think I ever did. Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay, I did. Yeah.
I
was like, all right, let me tell him I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right over.
It didn't take you 5 minutes to get over there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, because it was right down on the corner.
Yeah, I remember.
And then after that, we were like, the other people we were with, they're like, where'd you guys go?
Yeah.
We're like, we're down here watching this AC/DC cover band.
Yeah.
And drinking beers. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, so after all that was said and done, we all, as a group, walked back to the car, and I don't know whose I want to say it was our pastor's idea to go back and walk around on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, on Bourbon Street.
And I remember the other pastor like very religiously said, no, you know, like it was after dark, and no, you don't want to be down here, you know, at this time.
It's lustful.
Sin comes out.
It's lustful.
And we're like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So we let them go, and we let them go, and we're like, all right, bye. Like fake open the car doors, not really, but and then we're like, all right, let's go. So we went back because I'd never been to Bourbon Street.
Yeah, neither did I.
And I mean, it wasn't Mardi Gras, so
no,
everybody had their clothes on, as far as we know.
Yeah, I think
so. We're walking down, seeing all the Bourbon Street, all the little art shops and everything. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think we got one of those like big ass beers or something, and it's like a gallon.
Yeah.
And we're just walking, you know, having beer with our pastor, and everything's good. We're good. It's okay to drink a beer. Nothing wrong with that. And then I remember getting to an intersection, probably about halfway down Bourbon Street. We were probably coming from, I don't know, north to south, maybe. Hopefully,
I don't
that's
remember
which way it runs, but
Yeah.
that's what it felt like. So we were going south, obviously, because that's where hell is. And, and we crossed over this line, and it's an imaginary line, but not really, because
No,
like we all
entire
knew
environment
there was a line there
changes.
after we crossed it, and it was so weird because all of a sudden it went from like family friendly, like almost kind of Disneyland town, the little towns in Disney, like fun little happy, and then we went through this invisible line on the street, and y'all that live there probably know. A portal.
Welcome home.
Yes. Welcome home, young Christians. And we were like almost, I don't think we were thinking about turning back. We're like, let's go. We're protected.
Go.
We're protected.
I'm not worried about it.
The Lord. And so we're walking down, and like it's dark and red lights, and there was no brightness anywhere, and all of a sudden there's like girls in like skimpy outfits coming on the doorsteps, and they're like, come on in here, boys. I don't know, I'm probably exaggerating.
No,
but,
it was just
and then there's like the guys out there like, come on, man, I got some good girls in here. Come on, like rounding up the guys and stuff. And I was like, wait, we're in a different place now. Like this is like where Pinocchio goes, the island.
Yeah. But so then, of course, we kept on walking deeper.
Yes, we kept walking because you know what the singer says, if you're going through hell, keep on walking.
That's
Is
right.
that it?
I think
so.
So
we kept walking, and sure enough, because of that big ass beer, our pastor, or was it you? One of you two had to take a leak.
I had to take a leak.
Yeah.
And we went to that little deli. Yeah.
So we went to deli, and
little bodega.
The deli, I think the deli was like still like borderline heaven and hell. He was like, don't go any further. Like the warning. He's the gatekeeper.
Exactly.
And he said,
he's the hobbit saying,
I do not have a bathroom, but if you need a bathroom, go that way. Go north into the light. And so we didn't listen to him, of course. And we kept going. And then we went into further into hell.
Yeah.
And I think that guy might have said there's a bathroom at the Golden Anchor.
Lantern. The Golden Lantern. What was the name?
If y'all have seen Police Academy, you know exactly what I'm saying right now. It was the Golden Anchor?
No, Golden Lantern.
Golden Lantern. Okay. So anyway, they asked if I needed, if I needed to go in, and I think me and Christian stayed out there.
Yeah.
Or just me.
No, it was just me.
But it was bad. Like I was out there. I know it was bad for you guys, and you have your story, but there was like a drunk, like a dude that was like completely wasted, almost could not walk, trying to get in this person's car at the intersection, and they're like, no, rolling up the window and stuff, and he's like, let me in, and I don't think they knew each other, so I'm just trying to kind of like stay out of the way. I don't want to get involved, and so you guys walk in, two guys, a pastor and a dude, walk into a bar.
A sharply dressed pastor.
Yes, a sharp dressed pastor and a dude next to him walk into a bar and take it from there.
Yeah, we walk in, and I'm like, it's use the bathroom, you got to buy a beer. Oh, that's terrible. So go up to the bar and orders a couple beers, and pastor guy says, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And I said, okay. He goes to the bathroom, and I'm looking around. A lot of posters on the wall and stuff with dicks on them. Like butt naked, full frontal, like Playgirl, just. And I'm like, huh. And then I'm looking at everybody else in the bar. And then I look at the bartender and he just goes, mm-hmm. And I was
confirmation.
I was like, cool. And about that time, buddy comes back and he says, man, that's like the weirdest bathroom. You go in there and you go piss. Everybody that's sitting over there can see you.
What?
It was, you can see into it from the other side of the bar. You can look straight into the bathroom.
Like
There's
the
no doors.
Or yeah.
And I was like, yep. And I started pointing out all the like centerfolds and everything. And then he goes, oh.
Yeah, we got to go.
And he was like, we got to go. I was like, well, I'm going to finish my beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. You know, I'm old and fat. Ain't nobody in here interested in me. But anyway, finished my beer. We walked out front, and he was like, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that. And I was like, hang out with me. It gets better.
Yeah, right.
And I pulled my phone out. He was like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm checking this in on Facebook. He was like, wow.
Yes. I know you got a picture of that too.
I did. Sure. Yeah, I did.
That was a memory we had.
Yeah.
In case we needed any kind of leverage in the future.
Yeah. Well, I was like, where were we at? Was it the piano recital or whatever, where we almost got kicked out?
Oh yeah.
He walked by, and he was like, "What's up, sweetheart?" And we're at like a piano recital, like at a church.
So was that? Was my kids or what?
I don't know.
Did you have a kid there playing?
Yeah,
piano?
I think so. I think Abby was playing,
okay,
or maybe Tristan.
Yeah, so our kids were there. It was like a piano recital. I know Jade and Mason were both there, and they were playing their little pieces. But when you came in, I had saved a seat for you, and you walked in, and when you sat down, I put my hand under your lap, and you sat on my hand, and there's this like older church lady right across the
she saw
the way watching the whole thing, and she's like, oh. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up. My booze here.
That's right.
This is probably the gayest podcast I've done so far.
Like I said, hang out with me.
Shout out. Shout out to the gays. We love them. Yeah, so I wanted to tell the story about, and we got time. Girls are inside.
Yeah.
Chit-chatting. I wanted to tell the story about the camping trip. So we had this camper that we had bought. We bought this camper, and we bought it probably a couple months before this camping trip, but we bought it for the purpose of traveling out to California and back on a road trip. And when I looked at it, it was really old, but in pristine condition.
Yeah, Winnebago style cab.
Yeah, it was really nice van. I mean, everything looked super clean. The guy had changed all the seals on it, and basically it was very nice. And so I bought it, and we took it out to California, and I'll make this quick, but that was another adventure. It was awesome. But we did lose the exhaust system in the middle of the desert right before Hoover Dam area. The whole exhaust system came off. And I'm pretty sure the brakes were... No, they weren't.
No.
So
yeah, that was later.
It was later. So we got that all fixed and came back. And so our next trip was we were going to camp at Swanee Reunion, right?
Yeah,
is that what it's called? River Rendezvous.
Yeah. Nice campground.
So I know we had the I'm trying to figure out why we got the brakes changed, but anyway, we have I'll just call him a friend that changed our brakes and apparently put the wrong master cylinder on for this it was a Chevy van, and it was very similar, but it wasn't the right one. So it had something that it did. Well, it made the calipers lock up, and So anyway, the calipers, we were headed out to Swanee, and we're on 10, just cruising along. Never had any problems other than the exhaust fall.
Drove all the way to California.
Yeah,
and back.
all the way to California and back. And so we're now out 45 minutes away from our house on 10, and the calipers lock up, and the brake, it just stops. I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I pull over, and we are like a 10th of a mile from the exit that goes to a Walmart in McClenny, and super close. And I'm like, well, we could probably make it. I'm just going to force it. So I'm pushing.
I think I told you to take a hammer and beat the shit out of the caliper.
Yeah, and that might have worked. I think I might have tried that, but nothing. It didn't help.
Didn't release
anything.
No.
And so we're driving, and the brakes are shut. I mean, they're completely clamped down, and I'm like, you're going the whole way, very slow. So we get to Walmart, and I'm like, I run in. I left Carrie and the dog, and I don't think we had any kids with us, did we? Might have had both the kids.
I think no.
We probably had both the kids. So we left. I left them in the camper, and I went in to see if they did brakes, and they're like, "No, we don't do brakes." And I was like, "Do you know anybody who like nearby who could help me out? We need to get new disc on there and probably new calipers." And so he's like, well, yeah, there's Johnny right there. And he calls this guy over that's like in there shopping. This guy was an angel. He came up and he's like super friendly. And he's like, well, I had something to do, but no, I'll help you out, And I was like, I will pay you, I'll give you money. He's like, no. He wouldn't have, he really honestly would not have taken any money if I didn't have any. He was just a good Samaritan. And when I'm talking to him, I see this Walmart employee running past me with a fire extinguisher. And he's like, oh my God, it's on fire. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I look out, my camper, the whole front end is in flames. And I was like, oh, damn, that's my camper. My family's in there. And
I'm on the phone with your wife.
Yeah, he's running out there to put out the fire, and he's like spraying it off. And I look, and my wife and the two kids they're safely out. But and then I hear Carrie go, "Oh, Tiki!" And she forgot our Chihuahua in there, so she runs back into the flaming camper and grabs our little 5-pound Chihuahua. And gets to safety. Well, he put out the fire. It was just the calipers because I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
but I mean, I learned the hard way sometimes. Anyway, long story short, the guy we put out the fire. It didn't do any damage other than just making some fire marks, and scared us. But so we. The guy takes us to the auto parts store, buys us the calipers and everything, and changes them out. And I gave him $200. I'm like, thank you so much, man. You're a lifesaver. And we headed up the road, and we made it all the way to Swanee. And we were super late. I think it was like midnight.
Yeah, it was like 11:45, 12 o'clock. Yeah.
And they had already set up camp, and they were out there, by the fire and just chilling. And I was so amped up from all that all the excitement. We were talking about it and just like completely like loud and laughing. And then we were
drinking booze.
Yeah, drinking, and we were just wilding out. But we were like just old people. It's not like we were partying like crazy people, but we were just talking about what just happened. And then And then we sat down and I was like, oh my God, I'm sore. And we start talking about all our ailments. Like, oh, I got my
knee.
appendix ruptured, and we're all of us, every one of us.
I got a fungus toe.
Yeah, we're all talking about our ailments.
And the kids could hear us.
Yeah, everybody. Apparently, everyone in the park could hear us.
So, yeah.
So the next morning after we finally went to bed, because I think Sarah probably was like, it's quiet time. Quiet time was at 10, or it might have been your daughter, actually.
No, I think it was one of the kids.
Yeah, somebody said, it's quiet time. We need to be quiet now. And so we're like, oh, okay. And
yeah, that lasted 10 seconds.
Anyway, so we get fired back up with some ailments, some other ailments we forgot. But the next morning I went to check in, and I go, yeah, I'm checking in from slot 32 or whatever 42.
Yeah.
I think it was 42, because I remember he goes, oh, 42, huh? And I go, yeah, why? What's up with that? And I go, I know I'm late, but we got in real late. And he goes, oh, I know. We had several complaints about you. And I go, what? And he goes, it's okay. Just keep it down after the 10 o'clock or whatever. And I go, I'm so sorry. We were just excited because our camper had caught on fire, and I was telling him the whole story. And he's like, okay, it's okay. Just, be quiet tonight. And I'm like, all right, cool. So anyway, that was the burning camper. So we made it all the way back and started out on another trip after that. And they did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured, I was like, I am not driving this thing ever again. I'm going to have it towed back. And we had a buddy tow it back to the house, and come to find out, the person who put the master cylinder on put the wrong one on, and that's why it was doing that. So we're like, oh, way to go. And he was the one that discovered that. So he's like, oh, yeah, it's the wrong master cylinder. I'm like, well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you could have killed us all. But that was a fun story that we'll never forget. But anyway, I don't know. We got anything else to talk about?
All right. You remember it was one of the first times we ever hung out with everybody down at the beach.
Pull that mic up.
Down at the beach house.
Right.
It was us and another tattooed friend of ours and his wife and all the kids and two of my buddy and his wife and their kids, and that didn't go to church with us.
Right.
And then that young Marine.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Yeah.
Like, because, hey man, you want a beer? Can I have a beer, sweetheart? And all of us were like,
what just happened?
And then we're all standing out there. He's down there digging like a Marine Corps like trench system for all the kids to play in, and letting it fill up with water for them. And all those old dads were standing up there going, I ain't doing that.
Was that the time where we discovered the turtle nest?
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. They released a bunch of turtles, and that guy was like super. They called the beach turtle watch guy or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like he had credentials.
Yeah.
And he's like, stand back. And gave us a lesson on turtle hatchings, and he's like, you can't disturb anything. He's very serious. This guy was it was overboard.
Yeah,
he was too serious. So we were like poking jokes and stuff like that, but it was funny because apparently there was like 70. He counted all of them. There was like 70 or something, and I guess according to like statistics, like 2 of those will make it. So we're just like picturing
all the kids
going out to the sea, and they're like seagulls swooping down, taking the turtles, the freaking sharks coming out of the water. It's like the Chinese buffet or something.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But then we went to St. George Street, right? to the bars. Was that
Yeah.
that time?
No, that was
a
different time.
That's
that was funny.
That's a different
too.
story.
Yeah,
I mean, we might go into that one. I don't know. What time you got to leave?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me, man. No, that was when that like 80-year-old molested your wife.
Oh yeah. We were at the vineyard or the winery. Yeah, and we were leaving. Of course, we had an Uber.
Or I think it was actually a
tipsy.
taxi.
Yeah, taxi back then. I think
we were tipsy. We were drunk.
That was pre. No, it was an Uber. Well, it was a taxi. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I remember him saying, "I'll come back for you guys." Yeah, he was super cool.
Yeah, he gave us his number.
Yeah,
because we just called him. Called him up.
But it was like a minivan, so it must have been like. It was before Uber, but it was like right in the transition where they were starting to do Ubers.
Yeah,
but they. So I was coming down from they had just crank it up there. There you go. I was coming down and they had.
I went
down first.
No, you and I went down to get to flag down the guy because we saw him from the roof when he pulled up, and we went down, and I guess they were like finishing their
wine
drinks.
Yeah,
because they ended up just walking out with their wine glasses.
Right. And I think it said stolen from blah, blah, blah. So they knew it was going to be taken.
And then, we went down and got the cab, the Uber guy. And when they came out, they were laughing. And my wife says, "This guy just triumphed carrying the elevator."
Yeah, right.
And Todd's like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" And we both jump out. And here comes this dude.
He walked out with like a walker. And I was like, walker. Who, him? Good job, buddy.
All right, man.
I was like, good for you, man.
So they got on the elevator and it was playing.
That's probably the most action he's had in
but his wife was with him too.
Yeah, she was like, leave her alone.
But it was funny because on the elevator they were playing "Let's Get It On."
Oh yeah,
was the song on the elevator from the band upstairs?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we went to St. George Street and all kind of fuckery took place.
Yeah, I remember. Sarah dropped her glass as soon as she got on
right
St. George Street. I was like, So we cleaned that up, and then Carrie hid hers back because I remember we went and got it afterwards, and we remembered it somehow.
It was like behind like a flower pot or something.
And that was fun. We went to different clubs and everything down there, and our women's got hit on when we were at the bar. That was kind of funny.
That's all the college.
Yeah, when they were dancing together.
Boys. Yeah.
That
was funny.
What to do.
No, it's a bunch of the college kids down there trying to talk to the wives, and we're at the bar. We're like, yeah, they can handle themselves,
right?
And so they just turned around and started dancing together, and all of the dudes are like, what's going on? I don't know what to say.
They didn't know what to do.
It was funny. Probably doesn't help the rumors.
Nah. I mean, yes, whatever. I kind of like them.
I think it's great.
I like being notorious, even though I'm not.
Exactly.
I don't know. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
I think that's a good one.
We'll have to do it part 2.
Yeah, we'll do part 2. We should get some more.
Yeah,
more buddies up here.
That would be funny.
Yes, it would.
We need to get some of the other fellows in here.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Later.
Bye.